Welcome to episode 6 of Sofa Stories. In this episode, we speak to our great friend Samia Longchambon, talking 24 years on Coronation Street, a chance meeting at Kwik Save which changed the direction of her life forever, and how she's gone into uncharted territories by featuring on shows such as Dancing on Ice and Cooking with the Stars, and the tools that she's learned as a constant pursuit of learning new things such as CBT and reflexology. Samia's got so much value to give. So without further ado, let's get into it. Episode 6, Sofa Stories. We're on the Ruxley with our great friend Samia Longchambon.
Yay! Hi, Sam.
Hello.
Great to have you on the
I
sofa.
can't believe I'm doing this. It feels surreal.
Well, this started, if you recall, at Jeanette's 50th. Goodness me, the party. I think it was mid-June.
Mm-hmm.
And I spoke to you, and you were sat at the table and with Ollie and Kim and obviously Sylvain. And I just mentioned it to you, and you were like, as you always are, so giving with your time. And
I was probably extra giving because I'd had a couple of drinks. I think you got me at the right moment.
Good shout. But no, we're thrilled.
I want to come on.
Oh, thanks. We're thrilled to have you on, Sam, and this is a real opportunity for our listeners, our viewers, and ourselves to get to know you better, Sam. And how's your morning been? Start away. How's your morning been?
Yeah, I mean, it's start of the summer holidays, so trying to keep the kids busy.
Yeah.
Freya's gone off to Abersock, so she's like water skiing and doing a thing down there, and Eve is at tennis camp.
Right.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
he's having fun there.
So he is more, because we do speak, as you'd probably expect, a lot about paddle tennis, but he's more on the pure fun. Never. No, paddle tennis. No. So he prefers the pure form of the sport.
He plays tennis because obviously we've got the tennis club around the corner from our house, and he's done it since he was about 4. But obviously now with paddle, he does play paddle as well.
Does he play? Is he playing quite a bit?
He's not playing quite a bit, but when we've played, like I've played with Sylvain a few times at the country club, and with some friends, with Matt and Jodie. So Eve comes along and plays with Zach.
Fantastic. That's great.
Can I just say, I'm not just saying this for good conversation, Sylvain is an unbelievable playing partner.
I wonder how long it takes to get onto the subject of Sylvain.
Did not mess it up.
But
no, he is. He's really good.
Really appreciate having you on. And I think if we just kick off, possibly, Sam, with the early years of Samia Gardi, is that okay?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I want to bring into this. We had a conversation on Saturday night. We were obviously around your house, a few drinks, and you mentioned Kwik Save. And I didn't know that story, but I think it's quite... What happened in Kwik Save?
Kwik Save was quite pivotal to me.
Was it? What year? What year was that then? Do you remember?
Oh my goodness. So I will have been about 6, so I'm guessing like 88 or something like that. I was in Kwik Save in Eccles with my mum.
Love it.
And from as long as I can remember, I've always liked doing impressions. Especially when I was a kid, I used to do impressions of Phyllis from Corrie, and not Phyllis talking about Percy, and Cilla Black. I was like a massive Cilla Black fan, so I used to do like impressions of Cilla, and I was doing this in the aisles in Kwik Save, like messing about while my mum was doing her shopping, and Elaine Greeley, who turned out to be my agent for 10 years, happened to be doing her shopping at the same time, and just stopped my mum and said, have you thought of getting her into modelling or acting? Like, I own an agency. Here's my number. Bring her along. So my mum took me along, and the rest is history. I started doing a lot of child modelling in catalogues, like for Macro Mail and Hayes and Grattan and all that. And then doing like adverts and stuff. And then, when I was 6, I started drama classes at Elaine's.
So that's really interesting. So Kwik Save, Ollie, are you old enough to remember big brands for less?
Kwik Save. Yeah, nobody spotted me in Kwik Save. I must have been the wrong one, but I can just picture.
Still a black impression.
That's what was missing. But I can picture you there in like the freezer section, the bit of like steep.
That's exactly where I was.
Effects.
Yeah.
But there was a Kwik Save in Oldley Edge. You know that?
Was it really?
Yep.
Oldley Edge didn't have a Kwik Save.
Oldley Edge had a Kwik Save.
Wow.
It's a Waitrose.
Where the Waitrose, because
of course it is.
It's had various forms, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was a co-op
and Summerfield, maybe.
Wow.
So you were spotted down the aisles of Kwik Save.
Yes.
And then which dance school? We must give them a bit of a plug. Can you remember?
It was It was a drama school so Elaine had it was called the Hard Work School at the time of our acting classes. But yeah, I also went to dance classes, and it was Betty Plants in Eccles, and Betty's not with us anymore, but she was kind of a distant relative of my great auntie. So it was like a kind of family thing. And I went to Betty Plant's dance school for years.
And is that a very good segue to go into acting?
I don't know. It was completely separate. It was just literally a dance school in Eccles. It wasn't like a professional thing that I did. It was just kids, doing ballet, tap, modern, that kind of dance. And we'd put on a show once a year. So it wasn't really connected to my acting.
So you didn't think then, I want to be an actor?
No, it was just for fun.
Brilliant.
It was just, and it was like a great confidence builder. I think a lot of kids now go to drama school to build confidence. I get a lot of mums and dads asking about, my kid's quiet, we want something to build the confidence. That's, have you got any advice for drama schools and stuff? And I think it is really good for that.
Really?
To build
So
confidence.
all kids should do it.
Yeah. Our drama teacher, he was called David Johnson, and he taught me for 10 years, and he was so strict, and it just instilled in us like a massive discipline that, and I say us as in a lot of us from Corrie were taught by David, and he instilled in us this massive discipline of how to behave. And
that's interesting, that, because we talk a lot about discipline, and you talk about having fun and at the same time it's discipline and fun.
Yeah, there's some of my best memories of being at drama school, being a kid. They're still to this day, they're some of the best times.
Yeah. And I think that discipline is important. If you speak to the class of 92, the Giggsies, the Butts, the Scholes, they all talk about, not necessarily under Sir Alex, but before then, under Eric Harrison. It was really strict, but it's applied so much positive in their learnings for future.
Absolutely.
So I think that's really interesting there. And then you get the big break. Now, I watched it for the third time on Saturday night. That's my life now. On Amazon Prime. Yeah. I rented it, £3.49.
Just buy it, Nick.
No, I should have bought it. I know. There's only one Jimmy Grimble. Yeah. Iconic.
Yeah.
How did you get that part?
I don't think I've ever told you this. There's the story of how I got that part, and it's a funny one actually. I used to do like Heartbeat and, different dramas like kids' dramas, children's wards, stuff like that, Cops. And one of the casting directors who'd recently cast me in a kids' TV show that actually got taken off air because it was too scary for being a kids' show. It was like a sci-fi kids' show that I did, filmed it up in Scotland. And Suzanne Smith, who was the casting director for that, liked me. And later on that year, after the summer, she called my agent and said, can Samia come in and help out with some screen tests that we're doing for a film called Jimmy Grimble? She's too old for the part, so tell her we're not thinking that she'll get the part, but we needed to help screen test the young lad who we're thinking for the part of Jimmy. We'll give her 90 quid for the day for coming, for helping us out. And yeah, just let us know if she's free. So my agent rang me. At the time I was at college, at Pendleton College, and I should have been going to college that day, but my agent was like, look, if you're free today, it's 90 quid. Wow. Go and help Suzanne out for the day. You're not going to get the part, so don't be thinking it's yours or anything. Yeah. I was like, no, cool, 90 quid, yeah, I'm there. So I went into Manchester and screen tested with Lewis Mackenzie, who played Jimmy. And as we were doing it, the director was there and a couple of the producers, because it was a big production. It was Pathé Films who made the film. As we were doing it, they were sort of all chatting amongst themselves, and then by the end of the day, they were like, "We think that we want you for the part of Sarah now."
Yeah,
like, but I'm too old.
Wow.
At the time, I was 17, and I think the part was for to play 14, 15.
Okay.
So they kind of adjusted it, and that's how I ended up getting the part.
It's an iconic
from Wagging College, basically.
It's an iconic film. It's been lauded at the Berlin Festival, the Italian. You went to Cannes Film Festival. Cannes Film Festival, Gifoni.
Experience.
Yeah. You know, the International Young Audience Award you won. I mean, the cast. I mean, it's a stellar cast, isn't it? You know,
it's incredible.
Ray Winston.
Ray was amazing, and Robert Carlyle was brilliant. Like, we were all just like starstruck kids at the read through with that cast of John Henshaw, Gina McKee, Ben Miller. It was just an amazing cast.
That must have been a massive belief builder and
Oh,
like
it
a
was
confidence thing to be around these people.
It was.
What kind of thing did you observe or learn from being around those guys?
I feel like the bigger the star, the nicer the person they are.
Really?
Like in that respect, like after doing that film, Robert Carlyle and Ray Winston were incredible. Robert came up to us, and the first thing he said was, "Just call me Bobby." And he was so nice to us and gave us so much of his time and advice. And it was just an incredible experience.
Because you would have been 18 at the time,
I was
Sam?
17.
17 at the time.
Yeah, 17.
It really is. It's heartwarming. It's uplifting. It touches on other strong subjects, bullying.
It does, yeah. It does.
But it's
makes you cry. And
it
laugh,
does.
doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it has that magic effect of crying and laughing at the same time.
It's got a great soundtrack.
Yeah, really good soundtrack. Really good. And it has for those of the City fans, it has a real nostalgia. And it is ironic that our next guest on the leading interview is Paul Dickoff, who is known, remembered, revered from that era.
Right,
I think that your film was released in 1999-2000, and he
2000.
scored that goal at Wembley against Gillingham. We put them up to the Championship, which many say saved the football club. And he's remembered for that. And the times where he's kindly invited me to the Etihad, he gets, I would say he is more revered by City fans than they would, is this an exaggeration, Sergio Aguero. Do you know what I mean? They put him in the same bracket because of what that goal. Wow. But the fact that Jimmy Grimble, there was only came out at that same time. I just think it's coincidence. It was a magical time. Ollie, you were saying off air before, you were saying, do many City fans, high profile ones, come to you and say, Jimmy Grimble? Or...
Yeah. I still get messages about it on Twitter.
Really?
Yeah, people like every I'd say at least 2 a month. I get messages from people saying,
usually City fans or just,
always City fans.
So I bet they feel a real affinity with you, like you're one of them kind of thing. Totally. So anybody, I mean, I remember the particular story. Who was it that came up to you? A particular famous singer? Was it? Was it somebody that we know?
No, I went up to Noel. He did not come up to me.
He was starstruck by you because of Jimmy Grimble, let's face it.
No.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think so.
I was totally fangirling over him, like you would, because it was Noel Gallagher. And I said to him, have you seen Jimmy Grimble? And he was like, yeah, of course I've seen Jimmy Grimble. And he said something about a T-shirt of his was in the film or something.
Oh, okay. Which part of the film is that, Sam?
I can't remember, and I didn't want to stop him. I didn't want to take up any more of his time by going, what exactly do you mean? But there's some sort of connection with Noel and a T-shirt of his being in Jimmy Grimble.
We need to find that out. We need to deep dive on that. Is it the T-shirt that you wore? Because you had that very fetching hat.
Yeah, I did. I mean,
Is it a hat?
I was like a goth.
Bubble.
I was a pugilist.
I love that. Yeah. What's a pugilist? When those three girls surround you. What's a bloody pugilist? And boosh.
Some actual boxing training for that point.
That is brilliant. It's a good punch.
Crazy.
I loved it. I just think it's a big part of your life, Samia. And even though we didn't meet till a few years after, with the fantastic work that you do with East Cheshire Hospice and continue to do with East Cheshire Hospice, we have to doff the cap to Coronation Street, to Maria. So that you celebrate, and many congratulations on celebrating 24 years on the cobbles this year. I presume after Jimmy Grimble and after coming back from Cannes and on 90-foot boats or 100-foot boats, you come back and did your agent suddenly say, Corrie, they want you on the ticket?
No, so I got Corrie in the April 2000, and we didn't go to Cannes until I think it was May or June. So I'd already started work at Corrie. And then the film was about to be released that summer, and we took it to Cannes, and they asked me to go along, which I was like, absolutely. But I was only able to stay in Cannes for 2 nights because I had to go back to work at Corrie. And I remember I had one scene in Roy's Rolls that I had to fly back for, and I was like, seriously?
Really?
There was this massive party that Ray Winston had said, oh, you can come to this party on this yacht. and it turned out it was like Elton John's party on a yacht or something.
I mean,
I was
unbelievable.
Like, I've got to go back to Roy's Rolls. I can't make it.
Bit of a contrast going on there. Roy or Elton?
Yeah, exactly.
Chose Roy. Chose well. He's a legend. Talking about that, I always say everything leads to something, and being in Corrie must have led to some incredible things, which I know we'll go into. So we're talking about trips away and stuff. So Toronto obviously is a place that you visited through Corrie, and it just shows that they've got a real global reach. There's a lot of people watching Corrie all around the world, in particular Canada.
Yeah.
What was that like, going to Toronto?
It was incredible. I mean, gosh, me and my brother went. He came with me for a bit of moral support because I had no idea what I was doing. And yeah, we did it was called the British Isles show. So we did some work over there. But yeah, it was just nuts, like walking around Toronto and people recognising you. You don't realise how much of a global show Corrie is.
Yeah, we were just chatting off air before how many, when you, on the first episode, how many viewers were watching, and you think it was then 20 million or something.
It was edging towards 20 million at that time in 2000. Yeah.
Goodness me. And that's just for context. The Euro 2024 final was about 24 million.
Wow.
So just to put a bit of context, that's incredible. So you're in Toronto walking. It's a beautiful city, by the way, isn't it? And
it's gorgeous, yeah.
And you're being how is that? That's weird, I imagine.
It's bizarre, yeah. It's just bizarre.
Do you think about the numbers, like when you're on the set, or I know there's been live shows.
Yeah, I think that's the only time you're kind of hyper aware of how many people might be watching when you do a live. I've done a couple of lives.
More people tune in for that, though, don't they?
Oh yeah.
What is it with people? They know.
People tune in to see if you make any mistakes.
That's what it is.
So
yeah.
like,
Schadenfreude.
It's really
reveling in the misery of her, just in case. No, yeah.
Totally. It's like any live show, isn't it? Like anything can go wrong, and that's like the excitement of watching it, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, like I say, we're going to come, when we have the break and after, we're obviously going to hear about all those wonderful things you do away from the cobbles, and you've delved into uncharted territories on the skating rink and in the kitchen with all the shows you've done. But I think what you put down to the longevity of Maria and how you've sustained is, I think she's a wonderful character, but I think credit to you for how does it work? How have you stayed 24 years?
I don't know, Nick, honestly. Like when I first joined, the contract was for 3 months with a 3-month option, which I was like, wow, this is amazing. Being a jobbing actress, you're used to going from job to job to job. So for potentially a 6-month contract, I was like, God, that's a really long time. That's amazing. So there's not one bit of me that thought I'd still be doing the same part 24 years on. I don't know. I think the writing is brilliant. I think the writers are great. Some of the storylines they've come up with over the years have shocked and amused me and delighted me. So yeah,
love it. I have a question on Maria. So do you have two brains, like Samia and Maria? And then if so, like when you get the script, you ever go, oh, hang on, not sure Maria would react like that or say that?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
That's cool.
Depending on who's written it as well. We can tweak little lines and say, oh, my character wouldn't quite say it like that.
Right.
But, let's be honest, the lines get quite blurred. I look like her, I sound like her. It's not like, it's not a complete
it's a bit confusing
to get into my character. Yeah.
It's fascinating.
We were talking about makeup earlier, weren't we? And you were saying about post-COVID, you do your own makeup.
Yeah, so I just we've got our makeup room, and our makeup girls are amazing. They're all brilliant.
Yeah.
But during COVID, we obviously had to do our own makeup in our room, and I just kind of got into the groove of going in the morning, putting a podcast on, and just sort of gently easing my way into the day.
It's like a ritual, isn't it?
Yeah,
I suppose.
it is. It's kind of like my ritual now, and so I've just carried on doing my own.
It's a bit of protected time, getting yourself, not just doing your makeup, but you're kind of preparing yourself, getting in the zone.
I just, I kind of like to be quiet in the morning, and then by the time I get on set, I've not exhausted myself yapping. And
do you look forward to when you leave your home and you're going into the studios, or do you still have that fear, if that's the right word, or that can you enjoy it? I make the point because Jake Humphries put on his podcast, High Performance, that even after the number of episodes he's done with Will, I think it's Will, his co-host, he still gets himself his stomach in knots, and he's, if he's not prepared fully, he's not.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm just saying, you were just saying off air to Ollie and I and Compton, how many shows do you think you've done since 2000?
Yeah, apparently someone put on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it
Nowadays.
I think it was about a year ago someone put that Maria had done 2,000 episodes, which,
big milestone.
Crazy. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Because for a few years when I first joined, it was just on 3 times a week. But obviously now we do 6 episodes a week. So, yeah, it's I can't really sort of digest that. It's a bit crazy.
Yeah. It's one hell of an achievement. Yeah.
It is. And I think on that moment, it's time for a short break.
This episode is brought to you by Mynurva. MYNURVA is a leading provider of one-to-one therapy delivered by highly qualified therapists. Mynurva is proud to support the mental health of many individuals, as well as working with universities, corporations and football clubs such as Blackburn Rovers. Nick and I speak often about our challenges with our own mental health on and off the sofa, and it's something that we're really passionate about and we feel is really important for everyone to open up, and I'm sure you can agree, and in some ways possible. We are back, and well, we've covered some amazing topics already, and really excited to delve into dancing on ice.
You must.
We've got to go there. We've got to talk about the show, and obviously that is uncharted territories, and very it must be just been some fear going onto the ice.
Massively.
And well, you did have a good partner though, didn't you?
I mean, he was all right. He was all right.
Talk us through that, Sam. And
He was all right. I love it.
Yeah, we're still in touch.
Yeah. I love it. No. So you obviously, that opportunity, can you remember the day that was spoken about, the opportunity going on Dancing on Ice?
I can, yeah. My agent at the time was keen for me to do something else, not leaving Corrie, because I was really happy at Corrie, but she was like, you know what, you've been there 12 years and you've never done anything else. Let's, see what else is out there. So at the time, it was kind of The Jungle could have been an option, or Dancing on Ice. Obviously, it had to be kind of within ITV.
So Strictly wouldn't have been an option.
Not really, unless you kind of leave, which I didn't want to do. So my agent was like, yeah, we've got The Jungle or Dancing on Ice. And she was, at the time, she was like, I don't really want you eating cockroaches, so let's just go. And I was like, I don't think I could do that. So yeah, I ended up obviously doing Dancing on Ice. And weirdly, it was the one show that I always said, I'll never do that one, because it's too dangerous. Because I literally couldn't ice skate. When I met Sylvain, I was like Bambi on ice. Fell on my head the week I met him. And ended up with like concussion and whiplash.
On the ice, obviously.
On the ice.
Yeah. Oh, right. God.
Because I'd had an operation on my wrist, which wasn't actually mentioned on the show, but you can see like I got the scar.
Oh, yeah.
Dear Lord, yeah.
I was only 6 weeks post-op from this wrist operation, so I couldn't put my hands out. My wrist was still like in a brace.
Way.
And it was one of the times when I was skating on my own, which my kind of recurring story throughout the show was I really wanted to hold his hand all the time. And that was actually why. They didn't catch it on camera, but the one time I was skating on my own, I'd fallen and...
So you must have had some real fear about that happening again. It's not nice.
I did. That kind of... I was sort of conditioned then, like, don't skate on your own in case that happens again. But weirdly, we went skating a few weeks ago. We took Eve because he wanted to go on the ice with his dad. And I'd not been skating for about 5 years. And it came back to me like after like 10 minutes.
Goodness me.
I felt more confident than ever.
Wow.
I think because the pressure's off now.
True.
And I'm not being judged, apart from Sylvain judging me. He was still, like, literally, I've not skated for 5 years. And I was like, I need to practice my 6 step. And he was like, yeah, you need to do this and you need to put your feet out and you need to go on that.
So he goes straight back into coaching mode.
Coaching mode, yeah.
When you first met Sylvain, did you meet him for the first time on the ice or by the side of the rink?
Yeah.
And you knew he was going to be your partner or not?
No, I'd actually... And he'll never let me live this down. I'd actually asked if I could have Dan Whiston as a partner.
The world exclusive.
I was totally expecting Dan Whiston because I was like, oh, he's northern, we'll have a laugh, he seems really sweet, we'll get on. And we do get on really well, me and Dan.
Brilliant.
But me and Sylvain obviously get on
That's
great.
a really great story. That's a really great story.
Sylvain never lets me live that down, but obviously I'm very happy.
And if we just recap mean, picture the scene. We're looking at 2012, 2013. Is that right? Yes.
Yeah.
The viewing figures were massive, weren't they?
Yeah, they were huge. I think it was something like 9 million-ish at the time.
Doing something that you are, quoting yourself, Bambi on ice, an absolute beginner.
Literally.
We set this podcast up for, Ollie and I, about delving into uncharted territories. I can't think of anything that would raise...
Would you ever do it, Nick? Could you ever see yourself doing a show like that?
I think I'd just feel really nervous.
Yeah.
And I'd get anxious.
I always say going through your
you?
fears.
Would you do it all? I bet you would.
I would, because if the opportunity came up, it would terrify me, A, but B would be like, I can't not do this.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think going through challenging myself, going through your fears, I think all the best things in life are on the other side of fear. You know, I look back at some of the things that I've done that have terrified me the most.
Yeah.
One was a bungee jump, and the feeling of elation afterwards, and the feeling of being free and whilst free falling was unbelievable. Being live on TV, Steph's Packed Lunch, Blue Peter, particularly the first one being Blue Peter. And I referenced the bungee jump. That was the benchmark in my mind that I went to, that I was just like, just jump. Yeah, because you just jump and then it's all good. I mean, it's a bit like you just before you go out on the ice, you just got to put that one foot forward and stay in perfect synchronicity with Sylvain throughout 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's actually 1 minute 30, which is crazy. 90 seconds, that's all you've got. But you're just thinking, please don't let me fall on my face in front of the nation.
Wow.
I think it's
terrifying.
that. I think doing something. I think we jump into things, and we talked about ice baths and all these other things, that being comfortable in the uncomfortable. I just think speaking to you now on the Ruxley sofa, just the idea that 8 million people are watching you, and it's that fear. It's just probably because I'm a distinctly average skater. So I think it's more that. There was another thing but I admire you. We admire you massively for doing that. And
it's one of them things, like at the time, it was such a whirlwind. Freya was only 3 when I did it. So it was really tough having all that time away from her, and the pressure you're feeling, to not let your partner down. I didn't want to let Sylvain down. I wanted to go as far as I could for him as well. But now I look back and I'm really proud that I did it. Like, at the time, I was like, oh, I'm rubbish. I'm, sort of talking myself down. But now, yes, I'm not Jane Torville, and I never thought I would be. But it's nice to now look back on those videos
and be proud.
Go, I did that. Like, I wasn't the best skater in the
I
world.
love that.
But it's nice to show my kids and go,
absolutely.
That's what you can do,
Very much so. That's very inspiring, actually. It's all about setting the benchmark, for the kids, and saying that I was fearful of this, but I did it.
Yeah.
Would you do it now?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I would want Sylvain and nobody else. I literally trust him with my life on the ice. He's just like,
oh, I'd love you to make a comeback.
You're in such safe hands. Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm a lot older now. I'd be scared of the injuries a bit more now, because you do get injured a lot on that show.
But you're in safe hands.
But yeah, I'd be in safe hands.
Very safe hands.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think definitely, I don't know Dancing on Ice's policy or programs or strategy, but having a revisit from all those seasons, like I said, that's 11 years ago. That'd be great for Sylvain and Samia. It's a classic.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And especially the amount of people who tuned in there.
Nick, you advertised with the Righi Bianchi.
Our first ever advert with ITV. And I remember the head of programming at the time was like, I remember saying to me and Rob, oh my God, we've got you a brilliant slot just between Dancing on Ice and Mr. Selfridge on that Sunday.
At that time,
and that was seismic. How we got that slot, I don't know. Normally it'd be Judge Rinder at 2:30 in the afternoon or something with our budget, but we got that slot. And I remember saying that is prime time.
Yeah. Definitely.
And did you get great feedback from that?
Massive feedback. Yeah.
From it being on at that time?
Yeah, absolutely. Because that was the time, if you go back in time, 11 years, the people used to watch it at that time. Whereas I think people's viewing habits have changed.
Massively,
they watch when they watch on catch up. Whereas that, I don't think, was really available. And I think people like to watch at that time. And people really tuned in to the adverts. So for multiple reasons, it was a really good season.
We knew each other before I did Dancing on Ice, but I think after that, when me and Sylvain came in here to discuss East Cheshire Hospice stuff with you, that's when our friendship was...
Absolutely. I was saying to Ollie off air, prior to that with your work with East Cheshire Hospice. And I think we should touch on that, especially for your late father as well. I think we need to talk about that. You've always very kind of given your time to the hospice. And in those days when you used to come in and we'd have raised X, 3,000, 4,000 quid, and you come with a big enlarged check, you know, those oversized checks on it.
Absolutely.
And it was great. And I've got the picture somewhere. Sam's not changed.
No, not one bit.
Sam's not changed. She's not changed.
But we did the run. It was for the run, wasn't it? We came and did like a little shoot here, and then that's when you first... I remember the first time Sylvain met you, he was like, oh my God, Nick is like the friendliest person I've ever met. I feel like I've known him forever.
Oh, that's nice.
And now we have all known each other.
Yeah.
Actually,
so that, like I said, in the past, it was all that. And then we was like, you know, if I saw you in Old Age, I'd be like, hey, Sam, you know, but it was nothing, you know, it was fine. And then that changed when Sylvain came, and then you know, obviously, it's like, Sylvain, bonjour, un peu français.
That helped as well.
Un peu de français, and so that was wonderful. And then after the run, the Manchester 10K, which we've continued to support, and you jumped on, and you couldn't this year, unfortunately, but you did last year, and it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I remember we then went to the botanist, and it was great, good times.
Yeah.
Really,
we were both ushers at our wedding.
I know, absolutely.
Amazing.
You're master of ceremonies.
MC, thank you very much indeed.
Absolutely, with JB and Mars
and Yves Lefrère. Unbelievable.
Such a good day.
8 years ago.
No way.
It's crazy.
That picture where we were all jumping up in our suits.
What a wedding.
Nunsmere.
Yeah.
What a wedding.
Yeah.
Well, that was it.
Sorry, Delamere.
No, but I think we stayed at Nunsmere.
Oh, you stayed at Nunsmere.
We had Friday night at Nunsmere.
Yeah.
And then I stayed at the McDonald, I think, Portal or something like that. I think. And then, it was at Delamere.
Yeah. And then you stayed at Nunsmere.
Unbelievable. What a wedding.
What a day. I know, and people often say, how do you all know each other? And you sort of go, actually, I don't really know. It's like I look back and it was like you say, the botanist, the bubble room, Mottram Hall, going to the gym and classes and stuff. And we just all kind of gravitated towards each other. It's
and then Sylvain obviously started Mottram Hall. It wasn't he was to train work. You were members there, and then used to train together. And then he set up SLPT, and then we always used to do group sessions. Then obviously he's thriving, and you know it's a Hale, and obviously it's fantastic. So we've done that Dancing on Ice, and then the other one in the last few years has obviously been just last year, the Cooking with the Stars.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to us about that. Talk to our listeners and viewers about that.
Cooking with the Stars, like I've always loved cooking. I've always been like enthusiastic and wanting to try different stuff for the family and things. But Cooking with the Stars came up, and I wanted to do it the previous year, but I couldn't because of work. I was too busy at Corrie on the filming dates. But last year it just so happened that I was able to do it, and
there's a French influence
another
there.
French theme. It must be a lucky thing for me. Jean-Christophe Novelli was my mentor. He was just incredible. He's like a friend for life now. He's ace. I love him.
He's big time.
He is, and a big character as well.
He's just been judging MasterChef Australia, so he was out there for like 5 months doing that, and we still keep in touch. We talk a lot, and he taught me so much. It was just the most incredible experience.
What was the most challenging bit? Sorry.
I think the most challenging, the final, was like there was me and Peter Andre in the final, and Pete was great, and he's a brilliant cook. So I was like, I think he's got this, and by then my head had just gone. I remember being on the phone to Sylvain just before like the last cook, and I was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And weirdly, I had a conversation with Chris Eubank, who was also on the show, and I said to him, Chris, give me some motivation to get me through this. And I was really on my knees. And he recited this poem. I think Don't Quit, it's called. I'll show it you later. Oh my God, he literally recited it word for word to me. And I was like, okay, I've got this. I can do this. And I genuinely believe that's what got me through.
That has given me goosebumps.
Like, honestly.
Wow.
Like, it's
perfect. Serendipitous.
Word for word. And it's a long poem. But he's great, Chris Eubank. He's such a character.
Wow.
We had some brilliant chats.
So you're not just doing the programme, you're meeting these other fascinating personalities and characters.
A good group of people who did it. Yeah, everyone was amazing.
Because over the years, you jump on various, high-profile shows like Celebrity Juice, Keith Lemon, you're regular on there, you're regular on the sofa on This Morning and everything like that. But is that more kind of part of the contract with Coronation Street?
Stuff like that's like publicity for the show. If you've got a storyline that, they want to get out there, the word out. We do things like Lorraine and This Morning and stuff when you're busy.
It's real life issues as well, though, isn't it? Like you say, it's publicity for the show, but they're also spreading awareness about real life issues that are going on in people's lives.
Like this year has been the big storyline. This year for us has been the bullying storyline with Liam. Charlie has been brilliant. He plays my son. In fact, he won an award the other week.
Fantastic!
So proud.
Yes, I'm so proud of him.
It should be.
He's played my son since he was 3.
Marvelous.
So I'm so close to him. He's just like my surrogate son. His mum Karen actually looks after Ralph for us when we're on holiday. So it's all like intertwined. But yeah, it's the bullying storyline this year was really well written, and it was kind of one of those that we wanted to get absolutely right because unfortunately so many people who were affected by it.
And but again, Coronation have never been afraid of tackling like big issues. Which is fantastic.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And it can be a really positive platform. And we touched even on There's Only One Jimmy Grimble. Bullying was how they treated it was awful, wasn't it, during the thing, but how he overcame it. So
unfortunately, it's something that people can relate to, but by that, I think being able to relate and help people to kind of feel heard, and there's always direction given as to where people can go, isn't there? And
we've had so many messages, like more than any other storyline I've done in all the time I've been at Corrie. This year, the bullying storyline has been the one that has had the most impact, I think.
Incredible.
Wow.
Well, that I mean, maybe we put in our link in our notes, or just about a bullying website.
Definitely.
I think we'll just to share. Because it's a force for good, isn't it?
So going to and through your fears with Cooking with the Stars paid off, because let's face it, you won.
I did.
Which is amazing.
Congratulations.
Well done.
Cheers, guys.
Add to your CV.
Exactly. You got the award there at home in your kitchen.
It's amazing. Yeah. You must be so proud of that. And do you think the learnings of Dancing on Ice are really, taking that leap? Jump and the net will catch you, I was once told by a business speaker. That experience you had on Dancing on Ice then gave you it was a no-brainer to do Cooking with the Stars because you had an inherent passion anyway for cooking.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to win Cooking with the Stars. It was just like, what an opportunity to get trained by a Michelin star chef on how to do some new dishes. That was it for me. I was like, yeah, I'm in.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, winning was just totally unexpected. Yeah.
And interesting on the subject of food, and one of the things that when I was preparing this interview and saw Ollie's dad, Papa Dunn, I recall a conversation we had 10 or so years ago about something that you would love to do in the future. Do you remember the conversation?
The tea room.
The tea room.
The tea room.
Can we debrief about that?
That's absolutely still a dream.
Is it still a dream? Yeah.
It's on the vision board, is it?
I've got a whole Pinterest board about it. Yeah, that's where I kind of see myself in the future. Just in a really peaceful tea
location in the hills.
I can see it like in the countryside somewhere, but I don't know.
Maybe France or England or
England, I think.
Yeah.
Although maybe I could bring an English afternoon tea to France. I don't know. We'll see.
That could work.
I just feel like it's there somewhere in my future when the time's right. But it's that kind of thing. I'm kind of nervous to do it, but like you guys are saying, you should just jump and do it.
Yeah, again, it goes back to Ollie's thing: ready, fire, aim. Just do it. Now you're so busy with your day job, but I think what is other than the fact, aside from the fact you're a great friend, that you've been so brave in taking on and delving into different areas, for your own sake, Dancing on Ice, Cooking with the Stars, and Tea Room. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
I want to just touch on something there, just inspired interruption there. But we spoke on Saturday about, I mentioned, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, but from a young age, you've created a life of doing something that you love, having fun with clearly discipline and working hard as well. But you've created a financial freedom. Obviously, you've come from humble beginnings, but you've never had to worry too much about money because you've had this structure in place.
Yeah.
You've been able to kind of create that life. But you also spoke about how you would circle houses in a newspaper. And is that a thing for you, like visualization and the vision board and manifestation? When you look back on your life, do you find that you've...
I think when I was a kid, I probably was manifesting it, although that kind of term wasn't around when in the 80s and 90s. But I grew up on a council estate in Eccles, and like you say, it was quite humble. And my dad owned a shop on the estate and off license, and it was it was great. Like, I had a brilliant childhood. I had so many great friends when I grew up. But my dream from being young was always, I want to buy my own house. I want to be independent. I don't want to rely on anyone. So yeah,
I love that.
I think because I started off, as I said earlier, about earning my money from doing kids modelling and doing TV shows when I was a kid. My mum put all the money I earned in a bank account for me. So with that money, I bought my first car when I was 17, and yeah, from being 16, I earned my own money. I worked at the Trafford Centre when I was 16, which was one of my favourite jobs ever.
And which job? We like to know these things.
It was brilliant. Me and my friend Hayley, we just left school and like, right, let's get a job at the Trafford Centre. It was when it very first opened in 1998, so nobody had worked there before. So went for this job at Debenhams warehouse in Debenhams clothes shop, and it was like a concession within Debenhams. And yeah, I started working there. Worked there for a year. It was amazing. Because I used to, when I was on fitting room duty, I used to practice my accents. So like the people who were going in to try clothes on, I used to like do a Geordie accent or a Scouse accent. I'd be like, I can use this and try and practice.
It's awesome.
You've used your hours there, even whilst, at Debenhams, practicing, refining your craft.
Yeah, I mean, I never sort of knew what I was doing, really. It was all
I love that. And it's interesting,
what I'd do at the time.
Yeah, you knew you wanted to achieve, like to buy a house, but you didn't necessarily know how you were going to achieve it, but you did.
I just knew I was going to, yeah. It's like, that's where I need to be, but it's not,
And this goes back to the conversation we had right at the beginning about you in Kwik Save down aisle 3.
Yeah.
Was it aisle 3 or was it? I don't know.
Might have
They
been.
used to sell big brands for less. That was their tagline.
Love that. Love that.
That was they used to get, like, the Nestle's or whatever they were. You get them the cheapest at Kwik Save.
Yeah.
Were they a customer of yours? We talked about this in episode.
Yeah, the head office was in Prestatyn back in the day before joining Arrighi's. I mentioned it in episode 1. Worked in football and translating, and then I worked in the grocery industry. And one of the first customers were Kwik Save, and they were tough to deal with. But then they got bought out by Summerfield, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Do you remember Summerfield?
Yeah.
So unfortunately, Kwik Save are no more. But yeah, good memories of Kwik Save. And then a question that Ollie likes to ask, I'll let you take it about what you one of our DNA questions of Sofa Stories,
which I asked John Wilkin about. Is what is the thing in your week that you look forward to the most?
Okay, so if we're talking like days, I love a Friday night. I love like that. You've been busy all week at work. The kids have finished school. About to order a takeaway, have a glass of wine, settle into the night. You've got, that is my sweet spot in the weekend.
That is
Friday night, where I've got no major plans for the weekend because I really don't like planning things that far in advance. It gives me social anxiety.
Yeah.
So that would be my perfect time of week would be a Friday night.
Love
just about to order an Indian.
And do you practice your reflexology on Sylvain? Because Samia's a reflexologist as well. You know that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Does Sylvain get the reflexology? Ollie was going to take his shoes off, and Compton said, "Don't."
That's a good job.
I did a new kind of foot massage on him actually the other week that I'd seen on Instagram. I was like, "Can I try this massage?" He's like, "Yes," through his feet in my face. So I did. Yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago. But my kids are always throwing the feet in my face and saying, "Give me a
They love it.
Yeah, they really like it.
Because it's not just about the foot, is it? It's the map of the body.
It's the map of the body. Yeah. So parts of your foot correspond to like organs in your body, so you can sort of. I did it because I've suffered with like health anxiety. I shouldn't say suffered. I've lived with health anxiety for years, all different generalised anxiety. Mine is.
I like how you reframed that there.
Yeah.
You're turning it into more of an experience, and maybe it's a gift more than a curse because you've been able to overcome that. It's a challenge that you've come through and being able to then help other people.
You live with, I think. It's I don't want to say I suffer through my life. But I live with it. And I wanted to like help myself and heal myself, and reflexology, you can sort of help yourself by doing it. So I can do it on myself. It's not as obviously as relaxing when you do it yourself.
And that just triggers something for me about the curiosity. I'm all about curiosity. I think my New Year's resolution last year was to be more curious and double down on that curiosity and the thirst to learn new things. Yeah. And this podcast is a massive part of that because we get to learn from our guests and things. Yeah. But for you, it's the reflexology, but also CBT.
CBT, that was kind of the kind of same vein as reflexology, wanting to help myself in a way because I've had loads of different therapy over the years for my anxiety, and CBT was one that I'd.
Can I just recap, just for our listeners who might not know what CBT means?
Absolutely.
Cognitive behavior therapy, is that right? So just in case CBT. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Sam.
And I've had loads of that. I've had like psychotherapy. I've had counselling, ACT, all different types. But with CBT, it's sort of proven now to work as a treatment for anxiety and depression and different mental health disorders. So I thought, if I can learn behind the scenes of it, I can help myself, so that maybe I don't need as much therapy in the future.
Right.
Maybe I know now how the therapy works, so I
Absolutely.
can sort
Love that. Is there anything from the CBT that myself, Nick, the listener, could learn from, in terms of that we could maybe practice, or a little bit of context around like what exactly CBT is?
It's just about like reframing your thoughts. Like I've got a qualification in it, but I'm absolutely nowhere near qualified enough to go and give therapy. Mine's like a diploma, like the first kind of diploma you get. But yeah, it's about reframing your thoughts, rather than, I have a tendency to catastrophize stuff. It's about looking at things in a different way to try and help yourself really through bad times.
So it's giving you the toolkit to deal with.
Yeah.
Well, I think for the listeners and viewers will be really inspired by that. Really inspired by
Definitely.
that. Well, Samia, we know your time is precious, and
this has been so much fun.
Honestly, it means so much to Ollie and I, Samia, that you've given your time up. And they always say the greatest gift you can give in life is your time. And we really, really respect and appreciate that. And we thank you so much for coming on the Sofa Stories podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A pleasure.
It's been
Good luck,
so much
guys.
fun. Thanks,
Grazie
Sam.
mille.
Hey.
Ciao, 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 ciao.